Hello.
Hi, Rosabel. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Now, look, I'm calling you for the podcast. Is that okay?
Look, it's completely acceptable.
I was wondering if you've been following along with the Roosevelt controversy.
What's the controversy that my name is not Roosevelt?
Well, most people think your name, apparently, most Americans think your name is Roosevelt, like the president, and not Rosabel.
Well, sometimes I hear people say that name and I think they're saying my name. So
Oh my God.
it's just different context, isn't it? Like that email you sent me this morning about the lady who thought I was a chicken.
I have to explain that later in the episode. We're doing an episode today about Christian hell houses. And I'm just wondering, do you believe in hell? Or I guess more widely, like what do you think happens when Rosabel dies and her life ends in some hideous fashion?
I don't really believe in an afterlife, but I do believe in ghosts.
Oh.
Never really thought about how that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because I mean, a ghost is something living in the afterlife, isn't it?
Yeah, but maybe they're kind of like plants, like they don't really have the same consciousness.
So wait, what you think when you die, you're going to be sort of floating around with like the intelligence of a plant?
Well, I think I'm going to decompose and then maybe I'll become like a plant.
Like a plant ghost, a spirit.
I can't quite reconcile these two ideas and I refuse to do so live on air.
I think you need to think about this some more.
What do I think? I think I don't believe in heaven or hell, and I don't really believe in an afterlife, but I do think ghosts are real.
I think we should just end it there.
I'm David Farrier, a New Zealander accidentally marooned in America, and I want to figure out what makes this country tick. Now, last week we had Halloween here in the United States, and I was reminded, as always, how big it is here. Growing up in New Zealand, we didn't really have Halloween. Much like Thanksgiving, it's a foreign concept down under. And even now, it's not really done on a huge scale. Sure, some streets will put some decorations up, and there's a bit of trick-or-treating here and there, but it's still looked at kind of cynically as this overly Americanized thing that just isn't very New Zealand. Well, since I've been in America, I've heard about something else even more American than Halloween, something that combines the pageantry of Halloween with America's favorite religion, something called a hell house. Hell houses are basically the Christian equivalent to a haunted house, except instead of being about ghosts and witches, they're there to remind you that hell is real, and if you don't convert and you're bad, that's where you're going. So, with all this in mind, I wanted to learn about where hell houses came from, what they're like, and what they say about the state of America. So prepare to be scared into accepting Jesus into your heart, because this is the Hell House episode.
Flightless bird, touchdown in America. I'm a flightless bird, touchdown in America.
I have a question for you already.
Hit me up.
Do you use Down Under to describe New Zealand or
Yeah.
just Australia? Or both?
Both. So down under, if you're an Australian, you could say down under.
Down Under. Right?
Sound.
Right? With an
I forget sometimes how I sound to you. Like, do you listen to me sometimes and sort of it's a bit funny? Or are you used to it now?
I'm used to it, but then there's like phrases like that
will
snap me back into, oh, you're talking funny.
Have you had a New Zealand friend before?
Yeah.
You've met a few.
Yes. I've met a few Australians.
We sound different. Okay.
No, I watched enough Flight of the Conchords, I think.
I see you've watched New Zealanders on TV,
Yes.
and that's the equivalent.
Yes.
Actually, that's a question. Like when watching Flight of the Conchords and you met me, does it kind of match up? Some of them,
absolutely.
It does.
Yeah,
that's
like
so
I feel like
interesting.
when we first met, I was talking to Brett and Jermaine.
It's very funny. Yeah, New Zealand is slightly more down under,
Do you guys
slightly lower.
use that though? Like, because it is like here, I think it's very associated with Australians.
Interesting.
But is it just like a whole
Honestly,
region?
I haven't really said it before. I kind of think that's how Americans would talk about.
Both.
Who does say down under? I've never said it until I wrote it in that intro.
Okay.
But it does refer, I think, to both.
Okay.
because we're both just down under everything else.
This feels like it could be one of those things that a bunch of New Zealanders get mad at you about.
Yeah,
saying.
They're like, David is not representing us in any way whatsoever. That's accurate.
I'm curious if it is
I'll look into
reserved
it.
for Australia or both of you.
Flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com. What does down under mean to you? For some people out there, it might just mean their own genitals, for all I know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Big news. We have an Instagram.
We do.
It's taken a long time to get one together. If you're on Instagram, if you haven't heard of it, it's a website, an app where people share photos. I think when it started, people shared like food and lunches.
Well, it was to compete with Facebook.
It was.
And instead of like statuses,
it was photos.
It was photos.
Which at the time was a earth-shattering concept.
Well, it was just posting through photos, and you could put like a little caption.
My online behavior is embarrassing at times. I have about 7,000 Instagram photos, and I looked at what my first one was the other day, and it would have been, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And all my early photos, I ran through another app that made it look like it was a Polaroid photo.
A vintage film, yeah.
And that was my aesthetic for about my first year on Instagram.
And there was a lot of people's aesthetic
on
Instagram
I took like a perfectly clear, beautiful photo, ran it through an app to make it look like a fake Polaroid.
Yeah. I mean, I look at some of the old ones and I'm like, why did I post this photo? Just purely based on how camera qualities have changed on a mobile device.
Right?
On a mobile device is, I think, what's most embarrassing about it, where it's like, here's a concert I went to 15 years ago, and it is
looks
just
like a piece of
blurry,
shit. A couple of pixels.
Yeah.
There's maybe a guy on stage.
Yeah,
maybe.
can't tell.
I want to go back and clear up my Instagram because it's just full of embarrassing stuff, but I don't think you can do it unless you delete each individual photo. Too hard. Flightless Bird Pod is our Instagram. Follow us. We'll post stuff about the show. You can talk about it.
Well, and I think a couple people I saw commented that they thought this meant we hired our social media person, but right now, it's still just us running.
It's still just us.
Still just us.
In the process. You've heard from us if we're engaging with you, but that was just us.
Just us.
We managed to create the account and post one video so far.
Yep. It's going well.
Now, also, Rosabel in the intro.
Rosabel
mentioned that a listener thought she was a chicken. I need to explain this because it was an email we got, flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com, that I just, probably my favorite one so far. Rachel wrote in, my daughter's name is Annabelle. It gets misspelled all of the time. So thanks for clarifying the spelling of Rosabel's name, which for the record is Rosabel. I'm sure that Rosabel appreciates it. And then in brackets, this is where Rachel hits us with a great story. When you first mentioned her in the story of cracking an egg on her head back in the old days, I thought you were talking about a pet chicken named Roosevelt, not a human friend. When I realized my mistake, I was so relieved that you didn't cruelly crack an unfertilized egg on its mother's head. So I didn't actually think what you did was that bad. I love this because I told that story in a lot of detail about my friend Rosabel sitting on the floor doing her makeup, and there was an egg carton, and I just thought it'd be funny to crack an egg on her head. And it just reminded me of how people listen to podcasts, including me. Where often you're kind of listening while you're doing something else, and you can just hear something completely different. And I love that someone out there thought that Rosabel was a chicken. And so I sent Rosabel that email, and she confirmed that she is not a chicken. She is a human woman, allegedly.
So I guess speaking of human women.
It's a great sentence.
Do you believe in ghosts?
What I do.
You believe in women ghosts?
Only female ghosts. Look, I know I have that ghost problem that I talked about for a while, which I think I've admitted to that. I don't think that's true. A witch came into my house. I do wake up every morning at 3 a.m. A witch came to my house, which talked about this, and she said there's an old man that floats in. I've thought about it a lot. I don't think that's the truth. I don't know why I wake up at 3 a.m. But I'm agnostic, so I'm not like there might be a God or something out there. But generally,
you are or not.
I'm agnostic.
So
towards God. So I'm open
to
ghosty shit, but my default is probably not. I was surprised when Rosabel wasn't a ghost. Like, Rosabel is very logical, but she is also quite fruity at times. And she'll just come out with, I believe in ghosts, which did shock me.
Quacky.
A little quacky. What do you think about ghosts and the afterlife in general?
I mean, I'm similarly agnostic. I would love
some knowledge.
Something beyond.
Yeah. But you're just not sure.
Human forms.
Yeah.
Ghosts.
Yeah, ghosts. Like a spirit staying around and unfinished business, kind of good and bad.
I don't really believe in that, but I believe other people can have experiences with that are real.
Yeah.
That are open to it. Like, I think there's a lot of cultural pieces where, like, Natalie's family have, like, stories about ghosts and, like, her grandma and the woods behind their house in the Philippines, like, hearing a name called from the woods calling her, and then she changed her name.
Yeah, right.
Because the spirits in the woods.
And that's just accepted. That is like just basic fact as well there. It's like ghosts are there. We deal with them. That's the deal. Yeah.
But logically, I don't.
I'd love to have an experience I don't understand.
I don't think I would love that, though.
Well, not someone like whispering my name from the woods. But just see something a bit weird that kind of gives me that childlike kind of like, oh my God. Stuff is, I don't know everything, and there's something out there I don't quite get.
There were like moments in like high school, you would hear of like haunted areas. There was like old Shoe Factory Road.
Yeah.
Where like.
I've never heard such like a haunted name.
I know.
Did you just make that up?
No, that was a road nearby where like people would see orbs or this like old cemetery, and you'd see, if you go like late, you'd see spirits.
Right.
I think we did it, and I hyped myself up and freaked myself up enough that like I could feel those sorts of things, but I don't know, like objective or thinking of it logically now back.
Yeah.
I don't think there was.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I'm never going to, someone that tells me they've had a terrifying experience with a Ouija board, I'm not going to tell them you're full of shit.
Yes.
Like I don't have the knowledge. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of my take as well. But logically, I just don't see how that works.
And I don't know if maybe I'm just too much of a coward in the moment too, that I'm not going to be like, oh, this isn't real. Because
there's that as well.
Yeah. Because I have friends with Ouija board stories too that I believe them.
Because they're always terrifying.
Yeah, they're always terrifying.
And now you say that, I have never used a Ouija board. And I also, someone that's like, I don't believe in any of that. I think I still wouldn't use it. I wouldn't do it at 1 a.m. in the morning. I've seen The Conjuring. It seems like a bad idea.
Yes. I bought one from like the 20s on eBay.
When?
Like a year ago.
What for? What are you up to?
It was
a prop or a gift?
Two friends were like talking about Ouija boards, and I was like, well, let's do a Ouija board.
Did you do one?
We did it, but we did it like in my garage in the middle of the day. Which
was anything? Did any of you experience anything unusual?
But the way I've heard it, where it's scariest, is like when you get into this weird meditative state at like in the middle of the night. Well, I don't think I would do it then.
Yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, I'm willing to kind of almost mock it.
Yeah.
Or dismiss it.
And harsh LA sunlight at midday in like a very safe garage.
But ask me this at 11 o'clock if we're in the studio and I'm about to drive home, or we're like, let's go take a walk in the park over there.
Yes, no.
I'm not gonna be so dismissive of it.
Okay, so the clunky segue, but
hell.
So hell houses. We'll get into the doc soon, because I basically talked to a bunch of people that have been involved in hell houses. Did you know about them until I brought this episode idea up?
No, you haven't stopped talking about them, though, for the last, 2 years.
So I watched a doc. I believe it was called Hell House, not to be confused with a horror of the same name. I think it was released early 2000s, and it was about these Pentecostal churches in America who essentially, a lot of these churches had the belief that Halloween shouldn't be celebrated because it would actually open up a gateway for evil spirits to come through. So some Christian churches decided, we will do something else, which is use Halloween in like a positive way, in that we will create these scary scenarios that just remind the kids coming through that you could die at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
And also, don't sin in this way, because this might make you die quicker. And if you do die and you're not in the right place with God, you will go to this horrible place. And then at the end, you're sort of spat out, and you are like, oh my God, I'd better get God in my life. And you convert, and that you're still scaring kids, but the church justifies it because you're saving souls, so it's okay.
Hell in general is just what kind of a marketing tactic?
Yeah.
Where it's just meant to scare you into acting
a certain way. Have you ever talked to your kids about hell?
No.
Like, does it come up?
No, absolutely not.
No, it doesn't seem like a thing to raise with kids.
But I mean, I remember being terrified of it though when I learned about it as a kid.
Yeah. Oh, I was big time. I was scared of hell probably till I was about 20.
Well,
it was like deep in my bones.
The scariest thing imaginable. Like it's
just
sold as you're going to be tortured for eternity.
Forever.
Yeah.
And the churches that put on hell houses in America, and it is a deeply American thing.
Yeah.
That's their main point. Hell is a real destination. It lasts forever.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be there.
Where it's just like, hey, think of the most unimaginable, like torturous thing possible.
Yeah.
And now that's going to happen forever.
Yeah.
Who's that not going to scare?
And why?
You think it's real.
Completely. And it's quite a mad thing to tell kids.
So speaking of that, there's a drive between Chicago and Indiana where they have billboards, and it's like old billboard that just says hell is real. That's it.
That's the message.
That's it. And it's like, just type.
Yeah, you're driving along.
It's been there.
You're
for
having
30
a lovely
years.
day. You're feeling great about something beautiful that's happened, and you're just reminded that, oh no, there is a place of eternal conscious torment.
Yeah, hell is real, and like being a kid driving through that and seeing that sign.
Yeah, it's really intense.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the doc this week, I went and talked to a lot of Americans that had been involved in hell houses to try and figure out how they work.
Have you gone to a hell house?
I went to one.
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. So deadpan. Fuck you. Well played. Chapter 1. Destination Hell. To understand what a hell house was, I figured the best place to start would be talking to someone who had been to one.
My name is Rebecca Groh, and I'm in Rhode Island.
How do you like Rhode Island?
Oh, I love it. I hear it's the little brother of states, so I love it all.
Rebecca says she grew up in a fairly intense Christian environment. For her, it wasn't just going to church on a Sunday, it was a belief system that enveloped most aspects of her day.
Definitely a church goer, I guess. Just grew up in a Christian background. Religion was everything. I don't think I really had a chance. I was also homeschooled for my entire middle school, elementary, high school, everything. And so everything was very much, we go to church every Sunday, and that's just how it is.
Part of growing up that way was also staying away from secular media, which was seen as evil. Even fairly normal things that other American kids experienced became off bounds. Now, this is a bit of a deviation, but I think it helps explain how we get to the existence of hell houses in the first place.
We weren't allowed to read Harry Potter growing up. I remember I was in my 20s when I read the book and watched the movies together.
And if Harry Potter was bad, Halloween was much, much worse.
In the South, Halloween is almost a taboo thing because, you don't want to, it's celebrating demonic forces. So when I grew up in this Christian household, it was that's really like a devil worshiper holiday.
And with that as Rebecca's background, enter the Hell House. How did you first get introduced to the idea of a hell house? Do you remember?
There's nothing to do where we were in Virginia, so this was the big thing. So when I first heard of Scaremare, it was from Liberty University. So that's a Christian university that was kind of the pinnacle of higher education in my upbringing, that culture, and that area of Virginia. And so they were doing this big thing where it was actually like a scary version of Halloween. And so all the cool kids wanted to go. I obviously, being homeschooled, wanted to be a part of the group of cool kids. And even though I didn't have any like real understanding of what I was trying to get myself into, I was like, oh, definitely, let's go to Scaremare. That'll be super cool. And just kind of like joined this group that wanted to go and do this scary thing. And we didn't really know what it ultimately was going to end up being.
So rewinding a bit, hell houses were popularized by a now dead televangelist called Jerry Falwell. Jerry is sort of what you'd expect when you hear televangelist. He loved money and racial segregation and really disliked gay people and women. And during the 70s, he spread the idea of churches setting up hell houses as an alternative to Halloween. Falwell also founded Liberty University, which is what Rebecca was talking about, a private evangelical university, one of the biggest in America. Liberty has assets in the billions, and it was fined $14 million last year for underreported campus crimes like sexual assault. Anyway, back in the 90s, Liberty University birthed Scaremare. And back in 2010, when Rebecca was just 14, she went along. She doesn't remember too much. It was 15 years ago now, but she remembers glimpses of some of the scenes.
They'd gotten a car in the building, and it was like something that probably got from like a wrecked, like a junkyard. And there were families surrounding these two victims, and the families were sobbing, and like these kids, like the story was that there was like a drunk driver incident, like a very real kind of traumatic situation. And for me, I'm definitely one of those people, like visually, if I see it, like I'm not gonna be able to like not see that when if it's realistic and stuff. And so that's when I was like, oh, okay, like this is like they're actually trying to scare us.
Why was Rebecca watching a car crash scene exactly? I put this question to Brian Recker, a former conservative Christian pastor.
The horror of the Hell House is that it shows different people in different scenarios that go to hell for different reasons.
It's that simple. More from Brian soon, but back to Rebecca.
The story was that like that the one kid, like his family was like sobbing less because they knew where he was going.
Oh, he was a Christian and he
was very like, yeah, it was very like leading to this, but it very much was like, oh yeah, he's good. He goes to heaven. And then this other family is just like sobbing and like fully like in it. And they're like, they didn't say like, oh, he went to hell. You just go into the next room, which was red, everything hot. Everything was like they're trying to like basically like have hell be the place.
I found some videos floating around online from a hell house similar to Scaremare, and it's really, really intense, especially hell. Her other memory is what happened after the hell bit.
This is the part that was like really struck me. I remember really significantly because we're like, the doors are out, we're outside again. And there's just this big row of like 10 by 10 canopy tents. And no joke, it's like that scene in Hannibal Lecter where they're all just standing and staring. And there were like 4 or 5 different people like staggered throughout this area with like their Bibles in their hands, staring and waiting for us at the end of the hell house. So like you get out and you're like, whew, wow, like that, what an experience. And then they're like, well, so do you know where you're going to go when you die?
Back then, she figured the best option was probably to remain a Christian, the best form of insurance against hell. That was over a decade ago. Scaremare is still run by Liberty University. But Rebecca sees the world in quite a different way these days, especially as she shares those weird memories from a weird time in her life.
I was talking to my husband about it. He's like, that's so fucked up. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. It really is. It's really nice for you to say that because I like thought that was like such a normal thing.
Chapter 2, The Art of Being a Demon. Rebecca had helped me understand what it was like to walk through a hell house as a paying customer. But it got me thinking about what it would be like to set one of these things up and to put one on.
So my name's Andrea Burgess. I live in Wisconsin, in central Wisconsin. The church that put this on was about 40 minutes away, and we would like carpool with people to be part of it.
The hell house Andrea became involved with was called Nightmare, modeled after a hell house in Tulsa.
my parents were Catholic when I was younger, and then I was invited to a youth group. Classic case. So I started going to that. And then in high school, I was invited to an Assemblies of God youth group. And that's where we more got into the more intense, I guess you'd say, versions.
Andrea says she and members of the church worked all year setting up Nightmare for its October launch. During October, it ran on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And as Halloween got closer, they added Wednesdays in as well. It cost $10 to get in, with lines lasting around 3 hours. From 1996 to 2006, about 10 years, Rebecca acted in the haunt, beginning when she was just 14.
So I started where everyone starts. The baseline is hell because it's huge and there's like spots all over in the walls where people can be, and then there's hanging cages. Youth groups would come by the busload to volunteer.
Oh, so this is quite a big hell house you were in.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was up year round because it had its own building called the Orbital.
She says it started off with the dramatic flourish. They'd set up a rickety elevator to set the tone for the whole night.
So then you go in and you enter an elevator that is shaky. And then you come out and you are standing in a circle, and then your crow, which is your guide, comes out. And the crows were like the coolest people in the whole thing.
The crow character took you around a series of scenes that played out in different parts of the building, all scenes of youth getting up to mischief, which often ended in death.
The first room after that is the gang room, which was very funny because Marshfield has 20,000 people, none of which are gang affiliated that I know of. The amount of not even racism, but misappropriation of culture that was going on in the game.
Oh boy, I can kind of imagine.
Yeah, they had like their red and blue bandanas and like tattoos written all over themselves. Ridiculous.
Next was the drink driving room.
There's a car crash scene where they're in prom attire. It's snowing and there's open alcohol in the car. And we had a crashed car on set. So they were like convulsing, like they weren't completely dead. And then there was one person that was ejected, so the snow was red. After that, you go into the drug room. There was needles in arms because they had fake skins and needles. It reeked like weed. Absolutely reeked. Still don't know what they did for that. And then there was always MTV playing on the TV.
The most evil network at the time.
Right.
After watching teenage actors dying via gangs, car crashes, and drugs, there's the abortion room, where a teen is dying because she got an abortion that went wrong.
She looked strung out. She had a full belly and a hanger and blood next to her, and like blood coming out of her.
Remember, it's kids seeing all this. They're not seeing fantasy stuff like ghosts or a witch on a big broom. They're seeing scenes that directly relate to real teen life, real teen problems. There's no warnings, no context, just horrible, tragic thing after horrible, tragic thing.
Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Flightless Bird is brought to you by Tovala. Now, Rob, I've talked a lot on this podcast about how I'm not a cook. I'm not great in the kitchen. Part of it is a lack of skill. Part of it is laziness. Part of it is I still get excited and enticed by like horrific American food. So I'm incredibly excited to have Tovala on board the show, because basically they are a smart and reliable meal service that make fresh meals, and they're delicious, they're healthy. Also, the thing that blows my mind about this is they have a smart oven that does all the cooking for you.
The thing I hate the most about cooking is having to clean up everything afterwards. The fact that everything is just contained, you just pop this in and you've got your meal.
The thing about Tovala is that it makes it so easy. You just scan the meal's QR code, you pop it in the specific Tovala oven, and it cooks everything perfectly, whether it's steaming, baking, broiling. It does it all automatically, so there's no guesswork needed. The QR code tells the oven what to do, and it does it all for you. This is the dream thing, because not just is the food sorted, but the way it's cooked is sorted as well.
Tavala's meals are chef crafted and taste just like homemade meals you'd make yourself, just without all the headache. Plus, Tavala's meals are made with real, fresh ingredients, which is important to me.
Oh yeah, important to me too.
You can also use the oven to scan store-bought groceries like Eggo waffles, Pillsbury cinnamon rolls, Amy's frozen meals, and it knows exactly how to cook those, which is really cool.
2 days ago, I was thinking, what am I going to eat? And then I was like, I've already got Tavala in my fridge waiting for me. I cooked a herb roasted chicken with creamy pumpkin risotto. It was absolutely delicious. I wanted more, and I will be ordering it again.
Ooh, a pumpkin risotto right now in the fall sounds great.
Yum. Okay, so for a limited time, because you're a Flightless Bird listener, you can save up to $300 on the Tovala Smart Oven when you order meals 6 or more times by heading to tovala.com/bird and use my code BIRD. That's up to $300 off when you head to tovala.com/bird and use promo code BIRD.
One last time, that's TOVALA.com, and make sure you use our code BIRD for up to $300 off the Tovala Smart Oven. Remember, with Tovala, dinner is taken care of.
Support for Flightless Bird comes from Bombas. Now, this time of year, I'm sure you know this, Halloween's just happened. It's sensory overload everywhere. But one feeling that we're still chasing, cozy. And Bombas has the socks, slippers, tees, and basically everything to get you there. Honestly, there's something weirdly therapeutic about fresh socks. The smell, the feel, even the sock scientists at Bombas have found a way to channel their energy into literally everything they make, from slippers to sink-in cushioning to satisfyingly weighty tees. And that feeling, it doesn't stop after one wear, it keeps on going.
And they make great gifts.
Oh, yeah.
So holiday season's coming up. They've got answers for all of your gifting questions. Like, what about your neighbor's fussy newborn? Baby Bombas fits like a hug, and they're designed to feel soft and stay snug, even on the littlest toes.
I have so many babies in my life at the moment, not my own, other people's. Until we got this ad, I had no idea that baby bombas were a thing. I'm going to get some baby bombas.
Well, what about your mom's new young friend that she met at the ski lodge?
Don't bring my mum into this. I'm going to fight you. And also, by the way, Bombas is really stepping up their slipper and slide game this season. They've got new shapes, new styles, fluffy new things, suede things, a little something for every foot. And there's one thing Bombas knows, it's feet.
And we haven't even gotten to the best part yet. For every pair of Bombas you purchase, they donate one to someone facing homelessness on your behalf. So anytime you get something cozy, someone else does too. So head over to bombas.com/bird and use code BIRD for 20% off your first purchase.
That's BOMBAS.com/bird. Use code BIRD at checkout.
The next room you go into is domestic abuse. So it's two parents fighting. So they're fighting. Finally, the dad hits the mom. And you go out to the back, and that's in a living room. You go out to the back porch of the house, and it's like perfect prim and proper girl. Like, just, she's like shaking. She's really nervous. She keeps looking back and looking at her parents. And then eventually she picks up a gun, puts it in her mouth, and shoots. And then we had a wig that would go out, and then water would spray the people. Oh, so I work with therapists now. I work in a therapy office, and like thinking of the things that people felt in those moments and how triggering, and there's nothing to turn to. You weren't done. You were just keep trudging through thinking about like I had friends who committed suicide in high school, and like, that's when you hear that gun, that's what you're hearing.
From there, Andrea says they'd get audience members to walk through a wall of hands, a corridor with actors touching their legs through nylon. She says during this bit, she'd be running around behind the scenes via trapdoors under the floor, repositioning actors and distributing food and water. She'd also grab the permission slips that participants had signed so that by the time they got to hell, Satan would have their name. All just part of the drama.
Metal cages with locks on them that they would cling. The walls had like rock everywhere. It was very dark. There was lots of smoke. And they would yell, like, if Sarah was in the group, they'd be like, Sarah, no, I didn't want to be here.
So you'd have a demon with a personal message to you.
Yes.
And after setting up hell, well, they set up a heaven too.
All of a sudden you enter this beautiful paradise with, I'm not kidding, they like scented it. And the only people that could work the salvation room that I remember were pastors or moms.
What was the scent of heaven?
It was just like sweet and
Cookies.
floral.
Okay.
Like probably like, I would say vanilla and floral.
Okay. That sounds right for heaven.
Very relaxing.
What's the purpose of the salvation room?
That's where you give your life to Christ.
That's where you do it. You say, I don't want to end up in any of these horrible scenarios. I certainly don't want to be in hell. So save me now.
Yep. And then, like I said, they would sign a piece of paper that they accepted Jesus. And then it would go to a group, there was a whole other office side that would contact them after and invite him back to church. And then there was the huge salvation counter on the wall, and it would tick.
Soul saved that night. On a good night, how many people would be ticked on the board as becoming Christian from that experience?
I would say 500.
What, on a night?
Yeah, we had thousands come through.
Oh, so this is big. I'm still thinking too small. This is really big.
Yeah, it was. It was really big. We had award-winning makeup artists and costume designers for it.
Nightmare closed in 2006. The church split up. Half the congregation went with the young hip pastor. The others stayed with the senior pastor. And Nightmare was no more. When you tell your friends about what you used to do, what's their reaction?
They're all like so shocked and of course but also not surprised, because that's a very Christian thing to do, is to scare people into Christianity instead of letting it just come in. It's all, I feel like Christianity is very fire and brimstone, and that's what Judgment House is. Yeah, it was truly to scare you into becoming Christian.
Chapter 3, 99 Ways to Die, Choose One. I talked to a lot of people for this Hell House story because, well, a lot of Americans have been through hell houses. And I won't go through all of them, but I just briefly wanted to touch on Ashley, who also acted in these things.
My name's Ashley. I live in Chicago now, and I work in the hospitality industry. I grew up in Stuart, Florida, which is about 45 minutes north of West Palm Beach.
Talking to her, I started to understand that despite there being hundreds of these things, they were all sort of the same. The school she went to from 7th to 11th grade was part of a church. And every year her church did a judgment house, which is like a hell house, just different branding.
It was advertised to be like an alternative to a haunted house. And so you would go to Judgment House instead of going to a haunted house. And the audience was like, you were encouraged to invite anybody and everybody. You needed to spread the word. You needed to let everybody know to come to this play. And it was to save souls. And I believe that we weren't allowed to take photos of the setup and stuff. I think that was a pretty big deal because they wanted it to be a mystery.
Talking to Ashley about her memories from the early 2000s, I was also struck with how many inventive ways they came up with to kill naughty teenagers.
So there was a party scene where, they're at a party that they shouldn't be at. And again, there's the scenario of somebody asking oh, I don't drink, and you shouldn't be drinking either. You need to accept Jesus. And then the person says no. And then that was, I believe, a car crash because they were drinking and then, of course, get in a car crash. The other one was my character, my little sister was abducted with her best friend.
Oh, no.
And then there was a crazy shootout where the bad guys that took her and the children all died. I think it was the cops came in and were able to get the bad guys, but they had already murdered the little girls. Horrid thing. And I'm my character was just crying because I lost my sister at the movies. I think I was paying attention to my boyfriend instead of paying attention to my little sister at the movies. So then she was able to get abducted. So it was all my fault.
So straight to hell for you.
Yeah.
I feel like some of these churchgoers would do pretty well in the writer's room for a Final Destination movie or some other horror.
I'm remembering the plane crash one. Like I was on we had like a portion of a plane inside one of our classrooms.
Like an actual plane?
Like, yeah, it was like part of it. So it was like maybe 6 rows of 2 seats. So it was like the audience was looking into the plane. And we're all like having conversations, or I was reading a magazine, pretending to be on the flight. And then they would flicker the lights and make a bunch of like sound, like the plane crashed. And then the next scene, you walk now to the next scene, which took place outside. And now it's just a bunch of debris and people like dead.
And what was your role in that horrific scene?
So that one, like they actually moved me around in that year. So I was on the plane reading a magazine while like the 2 main actors were like doing the conversation of, do you accept Jesus Christ into your heart? And then one person saying no. And so I was just like a background actor. And then they moved me to be like in the plane crash. Like either crying because I was injured or just like dead, depending on the day. Because we did it numerous days. So I think I was a floater that year.
And was it successful? Did they sign people up?
Yeah, of course. And then even me, and I was a Christian at this time, right? Every single time I'm like saying the prayer just in case, like crossing my T's, dotting my I's, just in case I didn't say it right the last time.
When you looked out into the audience, like were people laughing? Were they scared? Because
like,
what was the vibe?
Wide-eyed the whole time. So like my parents would go through it. Both sets of my parents, I think, would go through it. And I think that it was just like kind of shocking the whole time, because it is. I mean, each scenario is very shocking.
Chapter 4. Is hell really that scary? At this point, I thought it would be good to look a little bit closer at the whole hell thing. Because if you don't grow up with the belief that hell was real, if you weren't petrified by the idea, all this stuff doesn't really make all that much sense. Brian, who you heard from earlier, used to be a pastor who taught about hell at his church. In short, he knows a lot about hell.
So my name's Brian Recker, and I used to be an evangelical pastor. For 8.5 years, from 2012 to the end of 2020, that was the year that I came to that place of recognition, and really I just couldn't do it anymore, and I put in my resignation during that COVID year.
Brian used to believe in hell, so he understands why these people attending hell houses get so freaked out and affected by it all.
In evangelicalism, hell is definitely a part of the mental model for God and spirituality, but it is a bit more subtle. They try to center grace, love, and mercy, but all of those terms are really only defined. It's grace means when God doesn't send you to hell, basically. So hell is still foundational, but in fundamentalism, it was not behind the scenes. It was every Sunday I was getting a pretty hard sell, fire and brimstone sermon.
For Brian, he was taught about hell by his father. And when you're a kid, you kind of tend to believe what your parents tell you.
So my dad is a fundamentalist pastor, and just about every Sunday there was some sort of plea to give your life to Jesus. And that was always based on the fact that we, as we were, deserved hell. That by default, God is holy, and one day you're going to stand before God. And unless you are a Christian or born again, or Jesus has covered your sins in that particular way, then you're going to hell. And I learned that message when I was very young. I almost don't even remember when I learned that message, because it was before my memories even began. But I do know that I learned about hell at the same time that I learned about God. Our spiritual formation began really with the awareness of the fact that if we weren't on the right side of God, we would go to hell. And so while evangelicals love to talk about this idea of a relationship with God, at least in my case, that relationship began in fear and fear of hell.
Now, let me sidetrack here for a second. I feel like a lot of people say they believe in hell, but deep down they really don't. But for some people, like young Brian and the kids going through these hell houses, it's a real place, a destination as real as Texas or McDonald's. So with that in mind, what is hell like?
What I grew up in, it was a very literal fire and brimstone. So the fire was real. In my mental model, though, as a kid, it was a place, definitely a real place. And this is not me exaggerating. The actual traditional doctrine is called eternal conscious torment. So that's the normal default hell belief that most Christians have. And that's not a pejorative. I didn't come up with that to make it sound bad. That is their name for the doctrine, eternal conscious torment. So that's really the pillars. It lasts forever. You are aware of the suffering that you are experiencing for eternity, and it is maximal suffering. So it's really the worst possible thing that could happen to anybody for the longest possible amount of time. It seems ridiculous when you have a little distance from it. It's almost like, that seems like it might be a control tactic to instill fear so that you do what they want, right? But when you're in it, it is not obvious.
And I clocked something here that I hadn't clocked earlier. Lots of the people I've talked to so far said how scary this stuff was. And I think I get it now. The reason they're so freaked out is they think the scenarios they're seeing in front of them, especially hell, are all completely accurate representations. Like, most American kids go to a haunted house and they realize it's not real. It's just a fun scare. But these Christians going to hell houses and judgment houses, the reason they're freaking out is that they're going, oh God, that's a pretty accurate representation of this awful thing that could really happen to me.
Like you mentioned, because this is not imaginative. They're trying to save you from hell. So churches will use hell houses as it's like a Halloween alternative, because Halloween, and not all Christians believe this, but many Christians, especially more conservative ones, might see Halloween or celebrating Halloween as demonic. So I did not grow up going trick-or-treating. We were kind of separatistic in that sense. And so they'll often put on these hell houses as an alternative. And in their imaginations, they think they're doing like a family-friendly alternative to Halloween, when in reality, they're doing something much more deeply traumatizing.
And I clocked another thing I hadn't before. The people running these hell houses and judgment houses, they really think they're doing a good thing. Not just good, vital. They're doing something even more admirable than trying to save your life. They're trying to save your eternal soul. I mean, imagine if someone thought you were going to hell, to a place of pain for all eternity, and they didn't try and help you. You'd be insulted if they didn't try and save your soul. And scaring you, well, that's just one really good technique. Worth it in the long run, when that long run is eternity.
One of the reasons hell is such a horrible thing is that, Jesus, the spirituality of Jesus is to love your neighbor as yourself. And when you believe in hell, you believe that the best, if hell is real, the most loving thing I could do for you is to try to keep you from going there. So it's kind of like this trump card where it becomes a loving thing to put on a hell house. That's their way of loving their community. So rather than, for instance, doing a soup kitchen or doing something that's going, to help the poor in the community, that hell house is their sort of missional outreach of love to the community that they're a part of.
Chapter 5, The Whole Family. From what I can tell, hell houses tend to focus on teens. But towards the end of my journey, I discovered there's a similar thing, but it's all year round, and it's more focused on the whole family. Because it's not just naughty, horny teenagers that need to be reminded about the very real existence of hell.
My name is Mike. I am in Missouri. I am in Southwest Missouri, which is actually home to the headquarters of the Assembly of God. So we've got some fun things going on out here.
We heard about Assemblies of God earlier. They're basically the Avengers for Pentecostals. Over 170 denominations under one governing body. Pentecostal Christians tend to be quite charismatic, a very happy-clappy, talking in tongues type.
Commonly called the Bible Belt. You can literally probably, they say you can throw a rock and hit at least 2 or 3 churches. Quite literally, if I drive up the block from my street, we will pass 3 churches in a matter of a couple of blocks. So yes, grew up all my life. Church was always a thing. Every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night. And even if there were special services, we always had to go to those. I remember one time in particular, I think I wanted to stay home and read my Animorphs book or something, probably. I can't remember what. And it was maybe Friday night, and my mom I remember her telling me, if you are not banging down the doors of the church every time they're open, you need to work on your heart. And if you read your Bible as much as you were reading those Animorphs books, you would be a warrior. So that's the kind of world that I came up in.
I understand that you were involved in a kind of, not a hell house, but an offshoot, conceptually, Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames.
Yes.
What the heck was that?
I am pretty sure it's primarily an Assembly of God thing. And when I say Assembly of God, Pentecostal, charismatic, speaking in tongues, like that's the vibe. Whereas hell houses and judgment houses, I'm pretty sure were more of like the Baptist thing. But the concepts are very, very similar. Whereas the hell houses, I think were targeting teenagers, doing cool secular things like haunted houses to draw people in. Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames is targeting the entire family and particular parents because there are storylines where the parents are not saved, but the children are, and they have to figure out and wake up with those consequences when they die.
Yes, sometimes adults have to be reminded that they mustn't backslide, that hell is waiting for all of us, no matter what age we are.
I remember in particular, one of the years that I was a cast member, there was a father-son storyline where, me and my father are driving somewhere. I think we had even gone to church, and I was like, I thought about going forward and getting saved, but you've never done that before, Dad. And the dad's like, well, there's all kinds of time to think about stuff like that. This whole script, it's written by Christians who have an idea of what the quote world is like, but they have no idea. And it's so corny. And the dad is like, your mother goes to church all the time. She's got enough religion for all of us. And the son says, yeah, and that's more for old people and girls anyway. Like just stupid. And so
like dialogue written by an alien who's just landed on Earth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So big shocker. It's like, okay, we have all kinds of time. So then the father and son get in a head-on car crash with another Christian family who we meet prior to. So then everybody wakes up in heaven. The father and son are still dead when the Christian family wakes up in heaven, and they're like, oh my goodness, this is what we learned about in church today. Look, there's the angel with the book of life. Our names are in there. Let's go. And so, Handel's Messiah plays. Jesus descends the golden staircase. They hug. They all get to spend eternity in heaven. And then the father and son wake up.
Uh-oh.
And so the son is like, wait, Dad, where are we? And wait, is this heaven? Like that place Mom was always talking about? And Dad says, oh no, I think I've made a mistake. And I remember during rehearsals, the director told me, he's like, now I really want you to play up. Dad, I believed you. You said I had time. How could you have done this to me? This is your fault. And I remember distinctly the director said, because I want all the dads in that audience to be convicted and realize, oh no, I need to make sure that my children are saved. Like very much playing on the fear of parents as well. And that's how I think Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames is different from Hell Houses. So anyway, the son says, but well, Dad, like, remember you said Mom has enough religion. So go ahead, ask the angel. Spoiler alert, our names are not in the book of life. So then the devil, the lights dim and it's red and black and smoke. And the devil comes out with his voice distorted, and his demon minions come and drag the son away. And the whole time, again, the son's like, Dad, I believed you. How could you do this to me, Dad? It's like, even just like, God, it's like, I'm still feeling it a little, like, because that's in you. That shit is in you.
One thing you have to respect is the dramatic flair, ever present.
As the demons are starting to drag the dad away, the devil says, stop. And then they drop him, and the devil comes and like picks Dad up, and he's like, thanks, Dad. I almost lost the boy. Demons, take him to hell.
All this happens in a church on stage. And Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames isn't limited to Halloween. It runs all year round in various churches across the US.
It's put on by, I believe the company is called Reality Outreach Ministries or something like that. But basically, it's exactly what you described. It's a traveling like family. They live in this RV with all of the supplies, and they travel from church to church. So the church will contract with that company to say, we want you to come to our area. We want you to, come in, help. Then they do everything. They set up the stage, they set up heaven and hell, they cast, they direct, then they take care of all of that. So, and so it's done at the church pays. to have them come out to put on the performance. And it's done to the public. It usually runs, if I am remembering correctly, Sunday night and then a Monday and a Tuesday night, and then they tear down and move on. And so it's just advertised to the public, invite your unsaved friends.
As I'm talking to Mike, I jump online and pretty quickly find their website and see it's still going strong. Heaven's Gates and Hell Flames now while you're on the line. I'm just going to see if they've got like a website or a Reality Outreach Ministries. Was that the company you named, or was that someone else?
No, that sounds right. I believe that's what it's called.
So
yes.
I'm on the website now. Some promo for them, realityoutreach.org. I see on their website, Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames. Where will you be when reality strikes? Just going to check the dates. Yeah, so on their website now, you can get the drama into your church or wherever for $800. You select the date you want it, including all dates this year. You enter your church name, your city and state, contact number. Okay, total costs.
Wow.
So it's $4,800 total cost.
Okay.
$800 is the deposit, and then the balance is due the last night of the outreach. All bookings include 3 nights. You get a Sunday, a Monday, and a Tuesday.
Huh.
So still going strong.
Still going. Do they have, is that available in New Zealand? Is it only America, do they say?
Great question. Let's see. So the website kind of looks like they want a state, which makes me think America. The contact details are America and Canada. I thank Mike for his time, then decide to call their head office to see how widespread they are here in 2025.
Reality Outreach Ministries, this is Renee speaking. May I help you?
Oh, hey, it's David Farrier speaking. I'm just working on a podcast about Hell's Gates and Heaven's Flames, and I'm just curious if you operate out of the United States at all. I'm from New Zealand originally, and I was just curious if you do shows outside of the US.
Oh, yes. We've got 22 teams. We're just establishing a team in Mongolia, actually, but we've done 100 different countries, and we've got teams scattered around about 22.
Oh, that's so big.
Yeah, and we have a team in Australia that does New Zealand and Samoa and the Pacific. Established actually in 1979 in Canada and has just exploded across the world. So it's pretty awesome.
I so appreciate your time. Thanks for this.
Oh, certainly. God bless.
All right, you take care. Chapter 6. God bless. As I hung up the phone, I remembered again that in their mind, these people are doing a good thing. They're trying to save you from hell.
When you come up in that world, you genuinely believe, and you believe that it's your responsibility to reach your entire school. Everybody that you may come into communication with is the potential for a soul to witness to. And so you take that very seriously. So as a 12-year-old 7th grader, I took it very, very seriously.
It strikes me that Mike still remembers this stuff so vividly. Most of the people I spoke to had really strong memories of this stuff 10, 15 years later. And everyone I spoke to had similar reflections. They all thought they were doing the right thing.
Yeah, as you're unraveling it and as I've kind of gotten out of that indoctrinated lifestyle, it feels like we're oh wow, this really was a bunch of people using Halloween, which typically Halloween was taboo, especially in Virginia. They're oh, it's not taboo if we have this other ulterior motive. If we can save some people, then it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely crazy to me, because thinking back at scaring people into Jesus is wild, just wild.
And while they can laugh about it now, they're also left with this unsettling idea that they were involved in something kind of sinister. What's the saying? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yeah, that.
And in that moment, I really thought I was helping. I genuinely thought some people just don't get it. They need to see these things to understand. I was completely bought in. But the amount of girls that I would just see bawling, and I was just good, they learned, is crazy. Looking back, it's I cannot. That's so gross. I remember just seeing people like deeply, deeply affected. And especially after the suicide room, because I'd be waiting by a trap door till the group left to go through and help. Like they had to reset the wig within seconds. But just seeing some of them, like we had people faint, and it was just, again, at the time you don't see it that way, but looking back, I'm like, wow, like some of these people could still be hurt by this. And one of my dear friends from it, we lost touch, but I found out he passed of suicide and drug overdose. And it's like you can put on this huge production and go after all of these souls, but the people, like he was a crow, so he was like one of the main actors. If he can die that way, how much did you really do? You didn't touch, like you didn't help your own people.
Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Support for Flightless Bird comes from BetterHelp. Now, the shorter days we're experiencing don't have to be so dismal. I know it's really easy to get down when things are getting dark early. I know it's really easy to get down. I certainly do when it gets dark early outside, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's time to reach out and check in with those you care about and to remind ourselves that we're not alone in it either. As seasons change and days grow darker sooner, it can be a tough time for many. This November, BetterHelp is encouraging everyone to reach out, check in on friends, connect with loved ones, and remind the people in your life that you're there.
Just as it can take a little courage to send that message or grab a coffee with someone you haven't seen in a while, reaching out for therapy can feel difficult too, but it is worth it, and it almost always leaves people wondering, why didn't I do this sooner? BetterHelp therapists work according to strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the US, so you're getting a quality therapist no matter which one you're connected to.
It also does the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. A short questionnaire helps identify your needs and preferences, and their 12 plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they typically get it right the first time. And if you aren't happy with your match, you can switch to a different therapist at any time from BetterHelp's tailored recommendations.
Yes, they have over 30,000 therapists, and it's one of the world's largest online therapy platforms. So this month, don't wait to reach out. Whether you're checking in on a friend or reaching out to a therapist yourself, BetterHelp makes it easy to take that first step.
Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/bird. That's betterhelp.com/bird. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Quince. Now, Quince has been a sponsor for us for a while now, and I'm very happy about that because I love Quince's clothes and everything else that they offer. And at the moment, cold mornings, holiday plans, this is when I want my wardrobe to be really simple. Stuff that looks sharp, feels good, and things that I'll actually wear. For me, that's Quince. And the bonus, Quince pieces make great gifts as well. Hello, Christmas, also known as my birthday.
I also need a new jacket this winter. We live in LA, we don't really wear winter jackets, but I'm traveling and I need a nice warm jacket for Christmas, and I'm going to be going to Quince to find one.
They do really good leather jackets. They also have puffer jackets. I own a puffer jacket and I got it from Quince and I love it. They also have, if you're into this kind of thing, $50 Mongolian cashmere sweaters that feel like everyday luxury, and wool coats that are equal parts stylish and durable.
And the other thing that's really cool about Quince is they partner directly with ethical factories and top artisans. They cut out the middlemen to deliver premium quality at half the cost of other high-end brands. So you get luxury quality pieces without the luxury price tag.
Give and get timeless holiday staples that last this season with Quince. Go to quince.com/bird for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada? Woohoo! Too. That's QUINCE.com/bird. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/bird. It's funny, sometimes living in this country, you kind of become a bit numb to how odd it is.
Yeah.
But then you find out about hell houses and you go, this is quite a weird thing.
Yeah, well,
to do. Because I'm still picking up Halloween. Like, Halloween is kind of shocking and amazing. Yeah. And I'm like, oh God, this is like that, but mega.
Well, the weird thing is that if you're just looking at gore level, like a regular haunted house is technically more gory in most cases. Where you're like guys with chainsaws,
Right, yeah.
and like
Yeah.
depicting things like the movie Saw.
Yeah. People being tortured.
Much more gory, and I don't know if this is more fucked up, but the scenarios are more fucked up in a haunted house.
Dude, I'm going to do a spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So I went to a hell house. Okay.
Yeah, you did.
So after I made that audio doc, I went to a hell house.
Yeah.
And what surprised me about it is I don't know if, I guess it depends on your level of gore. So I went to a modern hell house.
Well, I just think the difference between them is the hell house is more realistic, and it's being presented as this is real and this is reality, which I guess in that sense is much more terrifying and traumatizing.
Much more intense. I thought the gore thing until I went. And so I went to one, it was an hour's drive away. It was halfway between like LA City and the OC, put on by a church. Giant production. If you listen to people talking about hell houses in the audio doc, very similar but better production. And there was a suicide room, and in there was like a half-naked woman in a bath who had slit her wrists, and there was blood oozing out. The next room was a school shooting room, and they had kids being mowed down by a kid with an assault rifle. And the gore was like actually reasonably high. Like the slit wrists looked incredibly real. There was a heroin drug overdose room where guys had needles and they had like their arms were all infected. And so while it's not like, I'm trying to think of like a Universal Studios horror night, I guess the gore is more because you're having like heads fall off.
Right, I guess that's what I mean. When you're thinking about like a horror movie, it's technically
more
like
gore. You're being sprayed by blood.
Yeah, and like you've seen someone in a show like slitting a wrist versus like having their arm blown off and like squirt blood in a horror movie.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like technically the arm being blown off and squirting blood everywhere is grosser, but the fact that the suicide is more realistic.
It's all grounded.
Which I think is the key to all of this, which was explored in the doc. That the fact that this is being presented to these people as, no, this is a reality in what actually happens, where haunted houses are much more like, this is pretend, and here's just scary situations.
Yeah, and it's so over the top.
Like
you're going to jump, but you're
and-
not going to go home worried about zombies.
Yes. I think it's just the like basis of reality that is being used that makes it much more scary.
100%. Yeah, all real situations, I feel like the one I went through, I mean, my one, it cost about $17 to go. If you didn't notice the church signage out the front, you'd just approach a building and just go, this is an office building. It wasn't marketed as a church. So the interesting thing is I walked in there, there's a big like giant skeleton, there's kind of some generic demons running around that look like they're from like a Resident Evil film or something. Nothing churchy for sale. There's a taco truck. All feels incredibly secular.
I guess, so that was my first question was what is this being marketed as? Because if 500 people are converting, like it's not a church event in that case, because
no, it's not.
It wouldn't be that like the people, if it were people from church coming, they don't need to be converted.
Completely.
If it's parents that are bringing their kids that aren't,
no,
like
so
it's just, let's go.
If I could summarize it, it's a trap.
Yeah.
And that's what became very clear when I went. All the marketing is basically LA's scariest haunt. Okay. Nothing about church, nothing about anything. So obviously church members would tell people to go because our church is putting this thing on. And it's like a reminder to people to like be saved.
Oh, and the church is running it almost as this like mission-based thing of
100%.
Let's get as many.
Let's get people in.
Yeah.
Also, you can go in, beginning age limit is 12. So you can be quite young when you're seeing this quite intense stuff. And when you walk in, first room, you walk in a tunnel. It's like a couple of like, this could be a regular scary haunted house. Then you walk into a scene which was a club. There were like sexy girls and guys dancing, offering me a beer and like a smoke.
Did you partake?
You sort of rushed on. It's all,
it's not a real
it's not a real
invitation?
thing.
Okay.
But a full bar setup, like a really intense looking Hollywood kind of set. Next room, obviously, it mirrored a lot of what was happening in the late 90s, early 2000s. Some of those kids in that party had gotten into an accident. Super graphic. There's a kid on the ground splattering blood. Someone's trying to revive him. They've got a full news crew there doing a news report saying these drunk teens died. Room, sort of then you're in someone's lounge where people are shooting up heroin. All like very stereotypical situations of like naughty things you can do. Some of them legitimately like bad scenarios that you don't want your kids getting into.
Yeah.
But they all ended up with someone dead. So next corridor, there's a guy that's overdosed. He's got a rubber band. He's looks horrific. Suicide room, stripper room, OnlyFans room, which is basically just a kid on their bed acting sexy in front of a lap. When I say kid, it would have been 17 or something. Deeply weird that it's a church doing it.
It's funny hearing the incorporation of like current things
Modern
like
things,
that.
modern evils. Very up to date.
Yeah.
I guess my point being, we went through it all, ended up in hell, which is very similar to what people explained was happening in the 2000s. Giant room, very visually impressive. Heaters on, very hot, stunk. They had smell in there, demons, Satan, people screaming at you. You end up in an auditorium. The thing that I found particularly distasteful, if it wasn't already, is that they then played on a giant projector footage from news and YouTube of people dying.
Jeez. Yeah.
So they had a section, this is
So
suicide.
real
Suicide is
footage.
real. Watch a bunch of people jumping off bridges, watching someone shooting themselves, blurred, but very present of what it was. Murder. You might get murdered. Shots of murder.
Yeah.
Car crashes. You might die in a car crash. That went on for about 15 minutes. Then a preacher came out, the pastor of this horrific church, I'm not going to mention because fuck them, and basically said, this is all real. Everything you saw in that hell house and everything you saw played could happen. If you're not saved, you're going to go to hell. And I would say about between 40 and 50 people went, no more, I'd say 50 to 60 went up and converted.
What percentage of the group converted?
I was booked for 8 p.m., so you book every half hour.
Yeah.
I would say there were about 250 people in my group. 50 went up and got saved.
Did you get converted?
My skin was crawling. I was wondering if I'd just act to see. Yeah, I am now a Christian, and this podcast is changing tone slightly. And then what they do, so I didn't convert. So after the big, and you say the sinner's prayer, you then you're taken out to the side and you're given, obviously you sign up to the church because they want your tithing money when you come back, because that's why they're doing it. The church wants money. When you're outside, the people that converted then come out through like a line of church members who are all clapping. It's like a line, like, yes, you are saved, you're in, you're great. And they're all cheering, and it feels like a cult.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing to be clear, it's the weirdest thing I've witnessed in America. It was so fucking odd.
I mean, the craziest thing about all of this, it's very clever.
Super clever.
It's very creative. And thoughtful.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that it is tasteful or I respect it, though.
It's a full production.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing they put on. It's the production values are high. The storylines are really well thought out.
Yeah, there's some intelligence and real thought put into this and the tactics and of what they're doing.
And I can see how it works. It's full on, and the real footage of people dying at the end. It's certainly, me watching it, I was like reminded, I can die in a multitude of ways.
Yeah.
And if I was in a certain different mindset, I could certainly see someone going up and being like, who's this Jesus guy? I want to do that because I don't want that.
Yeah.
What else jumped out to you from what people were talking about? Because it's such an unusual space.
I mean, I think we covered most.
It's pretty bad shit.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Were they actually the crow people? Did yours have crows?
Yeah, no crow people. No, so that was a creative flourish they had.
That sounds cool. I wasn't sure.
You like the crow people?
Well, were they actual crows, or would they just look like a character from The Crow, the guy from The Crow?
No, my take was they like a big bird head.
I mean,
like
I like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's what you'd be if you took part in a house. I'll be the crow man.
It's kind of cool. I like the imagery of that. That's what I'm saying. Like it's clever and creative.
And you know, some of these, if you watch this on YouTube, this episode, we have some photos of some of the Hell houses they took part in, and all these kids are having great fun. Like imagine you get to go and volunteer and put on this. You have the resources to do all this stuff and to terrify people.
Yeah.
It's great fun.
Like, I mean, the manipulation level, though, is obviously
horrific.
Where the issue is.
And again, everyone I talk to that took part looks back on it with regret. And they're like, why did I do this? Yeah. And again, people were crying in the auditorium at the end. Yeah. It affected people.
Were you scared? Was it scary?
A couple of jump scares that were quite good. I just found it was less jump scares and scary and more just, I feel unsettled.
Yeah.
And this is sort of just all a bit bleak and awful.
Yeah.
I think bleak would be the overall Hell House vibe as opposed to, oh, I got a fun scare from a ghost.
Do you like haunted houses?
I love them.
Okay. So you've gone to good haunted houses.
I've been to good haunted houses.
And how did this compare? Like, can you imagine, had you thought this was going to be a good haunted house that you were going to go to, you went into that unknowing that it was tied to a church?
It was an unusual thing.
Yeah.
And why were all those situations real?
And theatrically, you were impressed by it.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say the church because I don't want anyone giving them a cent.
Yeah.
But it was technically really slick. It wasn't like I was in some sloppy church that had set up on a weekend.
Yeah.
They would have spent months like prepping this thing. It was impressive.
Yeah.
So also, I invited you to come to this, and you were like, you don't like scares.
I don't love haunted houses. No.
What's your just too not brave enough? You're not sort of as brave as me.
I think it's bravery.
I have a nickname. You
Brave
might
Dave.
not have heard this.
Brave Dave.
Bravid. A lot of my friends call me that, and all the time they call me Bravid. They're like,
can we call
Bravid's here.
Rosabel really quick?
No, we don't need to
confirm.
No, you can just trust me on that.
I'm just.
Don't worry. So anyway, moving on to.
I gotta send a quick message. What time is it in New Zealand right now?
It'll be. I think everyone's asleep. 2:30 p.m. I think Rosabel will be sleeping.
I get too claustrophobic in those situations. Like I don't like being trapped in situations.
Yeah.
Where it makes me panicky.
I was lucky enough to go to a Universal Horror Night about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have hated it because you were crammed into these tiny spaces with a lot of people.
I don't like that part of it. So I think if it were
more open,
if it was outside, like the thing we went to at the Equestrian Center, if there were scary things there and open and
you don't want to be locked in a little corridor with shit coming at you.
No, and go through this tiny tunnel. I do remember.
It's okay. You're not brave.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, not Bravid.
As someone who is
not Brave Dave,
typically called Bravid, because of my bravery, I don't understand your point of view.
Let's see.
Should we look at some feedback? Oh no, one more thing. Okay, so Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames, which is this kind of touring, put a mini Hell House on in your church. It is in New Zealand, which is fascinating. I also found a Hell House happening in New Zealand, like a proper Hell House. It is called, I'm just looking at the Facebook page. It's in Rotorua, which is a city in New Zealand. I'm not going to say the church because I don't want to promote it, but they're having a Halloween House of Hell, 13 years and up. I was incredibly surprised by this.
When is it?
It is on October 31st.
Can we send Hayden and Rosabel?
I have texted them. And I've said, does anyone want to go to Rotorua? It's a few hours drive for them to get to.
And
not
it's
convenient.
Tomorrow.
It is tomorrow.
All right. Well,
but yeah, if you're listening to this, if you're a Kiwi that's listening, just know
it
that
has already happened.
Hell houses, it's already happened, and hell houses are in New Zealand, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
I'd say this is the only one, and I'd say it's some little New Zealand church that's gone, why don't we do this? Why don't we try to emphasize?
It reminds me a little bit. Did you see that Scorsese, Andrew Garfield movie about them trying to spread Christianity in like...
No, I apparently it was epic and great.
Scorsese, right?
It was Scorsese, yeah.
It reminds me of that, but like
totally
proselytizing with hell houses instead of going...
Completely. Yeah, no, same thing. Take it from America to the world.
Yeah.
And introduce it. I don't know how that would go in New Zealand. I can't imagine what I saw happening in Rotorua, but that is what is happening.
It's called Silence.
Okay. Have you seen?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Good?
It's great. Yeah. I liked it a lot.
I always think it's funny when you hear people talking about like a Scorsese movie and someone's like, it's so shit. It's like a Scorsese. It's going to be amazing.
No.
Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was the one that took him like 20 or 30 years to make.
Also, as a love passion project. Yeah. Okay, feedback. There's two people, anonymous. One because they didn't want to lose their job. The other because they were deeply embarrassed. First anonymous.
It's a great sign.
I haven't heard this mentioned on the news or the social media that I follow, but there is currently Republican propaganda on government websites regarding the shutdown. As a federal employee for over 20 years, I've never seen anything like this. And this isn't a shutdown episode, that's a whole thing, but I was legitimately surprised by the language used.
Oh, I've seen about, there was, even in like airports, there were certain airports that refused, that were basically, all of the language is just like,
it's bad
because
shit.
Of the radical left.
Yeah.
The government is shut down.
This is USDA.gov, an official website, okay? Senate Democrats have now voted 12 times not to fund food stamp program, also known as the Supplement Nutrition Assistance Program. Bottom line, the well has run dry. At this time, there will be no benefits issued November 1st. By the way, it's horrific. Like, people are going to starve and die. We're approaching an inflection point for Senate Democrats. And this is what blew my mind. It's like we're in a bad film. They can continue to hold out for healthcare for illegal aliens and gender mutilation procedures, or reopen the government so mothers, babies, and the most vulnerable amongst us can receive critical nutritional assistance.
Yeah, I mean, the spin is insane.
And I know, I feel like I'm the only one that didn't clock how nuts the language is. It's nuts. So I thought that was worth mentioning. It is absolutely bizarre. And I can only imagine what it would be like to be a worker involved in the shutdown right now.
It's a total misrepresentation of what's actually happening.
Insane.
Yeah.
Which again, a whole other topic. Other podcasts will cover this much better than we can.
Yeah.
But it's incredibly messed up. Okay, another anonymous bit of feedback out of embarrassment. I'm just catching up on your episodes and I got to the Coney 2012 one. I also just saw you have a homecoming episode. I have a story that's relevant to share that combines both. I asked a girl I liked to my senior prom in 2012. She did not go to my school. When I asked her, she seemed surprised, and her verbal response was, sure. Something felt off about the response, but at least it wasn't a no. Well, a few days later, she messaged me saying she realized my school's prom night was the same night she'd arranged to hang out to spread flyers to raise awareness about Coney 2012. I figured at the time it was a made-up excuse because she didn't want to go with me. But we both met at a church camp, so maybe she was just super on fire for Jesus and ready to spread Coney 2012 flyers. So my prom night, my best friends and I just hung out, playing board games, watching movies, and eating pizza. Turned out okay. Much more fun than a silly dance.
Sounds like a great night.
It sounds like he had a much better night than going to prom with someone that was into Coney 2012. John, hello, David and Rob. David, I love the way you say, what makes this country tick? At the start of every episode. It's become a thing for me. Every episode I get better and better at saying it, just like you. I copy it perfectly. Accent and everything. My wife gets annoyed because it has become a stim for me and I'm constantly saying it all around the house. And I just want to say, John, you should stop traumatizing your wife by doing that.
That's the bit you called?
Truly horrific. What a great catchphrase though, eh? Don't you think? Rob, what do you think?
So great. I'm just waiting to see if Rosabel's responded.
No, I don't think she will be. And if she does, she would just be agreeing with me.
Yeah. We got all that emo feedback?
There's so much. People love the emo episode. people lost it. A lot of people, there was actually one bit of feedback.
Wait.
Yeah.
Rosabel.
Do you want to run it by me first?
Nope. It's just a bunch of ha 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 ha. And then you already know the answer to that, Rob.
Oh. The answer is what I told you, which is my nickname is Bravid. People love emo. A number of people cried when certain songs were played because it just took them straight back to that particular time in their life.
Chris had texted me after that we were first in their dashboards like popping up now and a bunch of other random stuff. Like there was an interview for some new movie that...
Oh, so they're doing a bunch of press here and there.
No, I think people are just referencing Dashboard this week randomly.
Amazing.
And we had put it out early in the week.
Yeah.
And then he got sent an interview with Dave Franco for his new movie where he mentions Dashboard.
Oh, that's amazing.
There was a Hard Times thing today that was just like Chris still finding his ex-girlfriend's hair around his apartment.
So we've done that thing where we sort of accidentally picked the perfect time to release something?
I guess.
Because it's like when we did the Kanye episode, he was suddenly back in the news again.
Yeah.
A bunch of things just weirdly get perfectly timed in a strange way.
Feels like that. But I also think, Dashboard didn't really go away. They're still touring and
totally
doing things. So.
The response is really fun. It's one of those episodes where the passion is just so high and it's fun to get there.
Well, it's fun to make things like that are received in that way. Like we don't get to do that a lot.
No, and it's like a delight to kind of do an episode that's just about people's joy and love of a thing, as opposed to like, here's a really like sick odd thing like a Hell House, you know?
yeah. And here's just our interpretations on it, but instead like here's this thing we wanted to.
It's also that was like a pretty jam-packed episode. We had multiple musical performances and interviews. I feel like any other show would have spread that out over 4 episodes. Like, no, it's all in the one. And that was really fun to put together and insane to have live musical performances in our thing.
Maybe we'll do more of that.
Amanda said, your conversation with Chris and his acoustic performance of Screaming Infidelities made my week. I saw DC in concert in 2007. I had an astronomy lab final that night and I lied and told my TA that my brother was in hospital and I had to go home. In hindsight, that TA was stoned every week and probably wouldn't have even given a shit about my real reason for missing the final. And it's not like I was going to be in astronomy anyway. Totally worth it.
Not with that kind of dedication to astronomy.
And finally, a lot of people sent in photos. Apparently at the moment, leading up to Christmas, there are a bunch of toy leaf blowers for sale for kids for Christmas. So like the Nordstrom catalog has this little kid with a little tiny fake leaf blower. And it just made me think, they get them early here. It's indoctrination, which is pretty, you wouldn't see that in New Zealand.
I saw a leaf blower today in this parking lot.
Really?
The guy, the parking lot attendant.
Yep.
He was just blowing it away. Like,
was there anything to blow?
There was like trash.
And where was it going?
He was just spreading it.
Yeah, no, that's
like it wasn't going to like a pile that he was then putting in the trash. And it was mostly blowing towards our office door. And I was in my car and I was just like, what is happening?
Craziest use of a leaf blower just to disperse trash elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because
like into the bushes maybe?
No, and then they'll have some neighbor down the road will have their leaf blower and they'll blow it back and it will just go on and it's just America. Thank you for listening. Flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com. If you have any feedback, if you've been to a Hell House and you have had an experience, let us know. Tell us how your Halloween was. And we'll see you next week.